On my way back home from Northfield Park, man, I wanted to do a video this morning. I had a number of people asking questions about 2-year-olds. This time of year, everybody wants to know, how good is my 2-year-old? Is my 2-year-old worth continuing? Is it a stake horse? Is it a gold horse, grassroots horse? Geez, I have no way of knowing. And for those of you that have been in the game, you know that's as honest as I can put it, because no one does really know at all. I can tell you there's some horses with talent, but what they do with that talent is up to them, and you won't see that until they're behind the gate once or twice in a racing situation. I can tell you the horses that got a good attitude, great work ethic. Will that translate to speed and wins and money? Again, we have to wait until the horses race. You know, we had a crappy week last week. Lots of breaks and mistakes. And then it just continued on with GW Chrome tonight. I get nobody to blame but myself. I'd asked Tony Hall after. I said, did I run up on top of you? Because it looked like I did in the video. Now, keep in mind, George is a horse that always follows tight. If you remember back to a couple of times we run him up the wood, geez, he was bouncing off bikes and horses, and he can get a little headstrong. He was following very politely and quietly, and it looked like Tony come back a bit, and he run up on top. It looked in the video like he hit something or just lost his footing for a second, and that's my fault. That's not his fault at all. But the way he come back trotting, it looked like he finished up well. I think he was probably going to be second tonight. And then Compass Rose DC came up with a huge mile, 55 and a piece. It's a big mile for that filly, and the way she did it was good. I can't help but thinking afterwards, I'd said to Jason, do you think there's maybe a more lucrative place to be racing this filly mare now? Man, she's really come out the way we wanted her to, and this is only her second start back. How would she be at Yonkers? One of my friends said Meadowlands and Massachusetts. We've had very little luck with Mark in Saratoga, but I just think it's one of those things, much like the week we had. It just, when something can go wrong, it does when you're in a rut. And whether it was Perfect Record spinning his knee boot around and putting a little swelling in his knee, and we scratched him at a safety the other day just to make sure it come down good, and apparently it has. Or whether it's so admirable, just can't put that last little piece together. Or the sickness of sweet ambitions, right? Or it just seems like when you can't do something right, everything goes wrong. And I understand that that's kind of how this game is, and there's no sympathy. It's not like, just keep working hard and things will turn around. You hope they do. There's no guarantees. This can be a merciless game sometimes. And, anybody that's trained or driven or had anything to do with horses for any elongated period of time, you know what I'm talking about. It can be a mean place to race in this game. So, Compass Rose, I don't know. I'm going to think about it tonight. I can't help but thinking we're squandering some real talent here with this mare, racing her just at Northfield. That's not to say Northfield's a bad place, but racing against colts and geldings and racing against very experienced horses in some cases. That horse we raced against last week, I came first over against, has a world record, I believe, in the track record here at Northfield, 52-4. It's unfair to ask Compass Rose DC to be able to handle horses like that. And is there a place she can race against her own kind? 4-year-olds, mares. I know the Meadows, yes, that's obvious, and she gets around great in the Meadows. But I'm wondering if there's even somewhere better. So I don't know. I'm going to take the night to think about it, but very, very happy with Compass Rose DC, and not unhappy with George. I think he was going to be second. Unhappy with myself a little bit, but I have made mistakes before. I think I will again, and it just makes us all human, I guess. I really didn't think there was an issue with GW Chrome riding close, and although Tony Hall said I didn't hit his bike or hit him in any way, it certainly looked like the video in the video I did. So, and you might say to yourself, well, you should know how I'm sitting in a bike behind the horse. From what I can see in his body language in the video, it looks like I clipped Tony's bike, or something jostled the horse that doesn't usually jostle him in that place. So anyway, enough talking about that. Put the last week behind us. Put race 3 behind us. let's start fresh with race 5, Compass Rose DC. I was happy. So back to what I was saying, a number of people asking questions about the baby. She knows I can't answer that. And one person in particular, who's become a pretty decent friend of ours, Russ, was a little perturbed that I had some I guess some blunt comments towards and pertaining to a horse we all have high hopes for, 3 Point Blue Chip. Listen, when I look at 3 Point Blue Chip, I see a horse that's very immature still. Fast, durable, can do his work. The fact that he trained as well as he did the other day after jumping on his foot means that he is dialed in when he needs to be. But when I put him beside a horse like Voyage of Ice and Fire, both studs, one horse looks like he's starting to really put that raceway muscle on and really fill out, and the other guy looks like he's getting to that point. So I don't mean to discourage anybody. What I meant was, if 3 Point Blue Chip's attitude falters at all, the easiest way to rectify that is castrating him. Now, I do not want to do that. We went down this road with Braemar. Do I wish I had a castrated Braemar? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not going to say, oh, that's what's wrong with him. The horse pays 53. He's a nice horse. Unfortunately, North America is full of lots of nice horses. It's what it comes down to. And when it comes to 3 Point Blue Chip, is he going to be ready to go to the Meadowlands and tackle everybody in June? No, I don't think he will. But the last thing I want to do is hurt this horse's, confidence and turn him into another bad 6-figure animal purchased in the last forever in North America. Our racetracks are full of expensive horses that didn't pan out. And I don't want him to become one of those. He's undefeated behind the gate, is what he is right now. He's done his work as well as I could ask him to do it. But I would like to see that maturity. Keep in mind, this is a horse that's eligible in New Jersey, the very deepest end of the ocean. It's where Muscle Hill and Walner hangs out. That's where for the most part, every major broodmare is bred, or plenty of them anyway. Do you think we're just going to waltz in and say we're here and they're going to write us checks and we're going to go around the track and it's going to be a layup? Come on, you know better than that. Pennsylvania's going to be tough enough without going to New Jersey. I want to make sure that 3 Point Blue Chip has all the tools that he has at his arsenal. Extremely well-bred, world champion, well-bred horse. Got a beautiful gait. His attitude's, it's in and out sometimes, but when push comes to shove and you put him in a position to, hey, time to do your work, he hasn't not answered the bell in the race bike behind the car. So I don't want anybody, not Russ or anybody else, to get discouraged by what I said about him. What I'm saying is I'm going to protect, and this is one of the few times you're going to hear me say this, only because I'm too lazy to look for an easier word. I'm going to protect our investment the best we can when it comes to 3 Point Blue Chip. I'm well aware. Oh my God, I opened up the documents for the questions. I'm so sorry. I have neglected, there has to be 85 questions in there. I've neglected them for over 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. And I'll get through those this week. I really, really apologize about that. A couple of them come up. Why would you even talk about castrating a horse with such regal pedigree? Well, I can tell you the first reason is the only way you can make money is to win races. And if I believe that his testicles are stopping him from doing it, and make no mistake, many times it absolutely is. Absolutely is. But keep in mind, we can't put them back on once we've taken them off. So it's always the last option for me anyway. We've never had a horse with this type of bloodline. We've never had a horse that could be, should be, and very well could be a very good horse. So I always go back to the statement of Mark Ford when he was racing Gallo Blue Chip. Towards the end of his career, he'd 4 million made or something like it. Had every world record, track record. Just one of the nicest horses you'd ever see. Somebody said, too bad he was gelded. He said Gallo Blue Chip wouldn't have been Gallo Blue Chip had I left him a stud. But we're not there yet, and it's not something I want to talk about. And, to Russ, I'm just trying to protect what we have here. I think this horse has the ability. I don't ever want to push him over the line where he fights back and shows me that he's got a stubborn attitude and doesn't want to do his work. At that point, we then have a conversation, castrate him, turn him out, let him come back as a mature animal, because, quite frankly, physically, he's just not mature yet. You guys put me in charge of making sure our horses get to the track, first off. Secondly, do the best job they can. and I do the best job I can, and I'm just telling you to protect us, to protect him. He's not ready to trot in 54 in the next 6 weeks. And to race in the Sire Stakes, he would have to be. The good news is, we've paid him into every stake race in this universe. Everything. So the idea, and make no mistake, the best horses in New Jersey, the ones with the highest regard, you don't see them in that end of June, 1st of July stake series. They just don't go to it. They don't rush. Especially when you know Kentucky is in September. You don't rush to have them ready in June. We're going to take our time, make sure we do it right. We're going to tick all the boxes along the way. That's not to say that this guy gets special treatment. Any more than Sidney Crosby would have got special treatment when he went to the Penguins. We expect a lot from him. But at the same time, let's let him become the horse he's supposed to become, rather than dreaming and hoping and pushing him in a direction he's not ready to go yet. Let's make sure we got it right. We got a lot of nice horses. Just want to make sure they're all doing it right. Now, in regards to those horses, tomorrow there's a chance of rain here at Northfield Park, and this was a week where we can't go hard every week with the horses. You guys know that without me telling you. There are some horses that seem to be doing their work very easily and yet working very hard. Those horses will continue to work hard right now. We have a list of maybe 12 horses, 13 horses that are going to go behind the gate tomorrow. Voyage of Ice and Fire. You know, it was a jog in the park for him the other day. I'm going to let him continue to advance. Whereas horses like Of Tom, she blew a little plus pocket out of her foot. She worked hard on Saturday. Probably just going to go back with an easy 1.5 miles with her. Every horse is a little bit different. We want to make sure that my goal for every horse here at Northfield Park is to qualify on June 10th. Now, keep in mind, I just told you about 3 Point Blue Chip. Although he's been in 2.6, he'll probably be in 2.2 at that point. Will he be qualifying? Hold on. We're just going to wait and see. My goal is to have everybody ready to qualify June 10th, and I think we're well on our way here at Northfield Park. I was super excited about how Procrastinator looked. Went in tonight, so we have Aglaire AM and Won My Heart here for another day or so. Went in tonight. Aglaire, she rarely eats all of her mash right away. She just like that. She eats it in the morning, but at night she kind of picks at it. I took it away from her, and I looked down the shed row and I said, which horse would want this? And Procrastinator's looking at me. I walked over and just hung it in front of him, and he dove into it. I love horses that just always are looking to eat and always looking to work. Procrastinator trained the other day with a bow in his neck. He just looked great. The horse looked good, so we're going to continue to work him also. Tomorrow's just going to be a day to continue some work and gauge all the horses. I want to get them all to a level on June 10th where whether they work hard up until then, whether they go a little easier and we push them on the 10th, I want to have them all leveled out on the 10th. For Voyage of Ice and Fire, hopefully, Luck of the Dragon, and Eyes of 10, we want to have those horses ready for the next generation, obviously. We obviously have a question from somebody saying, is Luck of the Dragon still our best colt? Is he the one going to the next generation? Or is it worth selling that spot to, let's just say, another group? Luck of the Dragon I haven't been able to push yet. I jogged him today. He was a little bit sick. He's just going to jog tomorrow. Just some indications that he might have a tiny low-grade infection, a little sickness going through him. You know, temperature's a little warm in the morning. Not enough that you wouldn't jog him, but a little warm, hanging on the right line. His feet are really hot. Just something going through him. So we're just going to back off for a couple of days with him. Make sure we get him under control. I want to take those flip-flops off him, put full swedges on. We have about 5 or 6 horses we're making some minor adjustments to, some minor shoeing changes to. So a lot going on this week. Tomorrow, big day for me. We get to race Spirit of Dio tomorrow. Really happy to have her back and happy to race her tomorrow. We got the trailing post, but I don't really care. I just want to go around and see how she feels. Path of Totality, I was so hoping we could race her without hobbles, but it's not looking that way. She's going to race tomorrow with hobbles, so those two are racing. Then we come back here. I missed Italian Grit in the first. Somebody said, why didn't you take them back to Indiana? I don't know, because if I get beat up, I don't want to go and get beat up again. Italian Grit was sitting 10th. You can't leave that much in the class. Went in 56. Not in a big hurry to get him back. Fox Valley Britska, yeah, he made a break leave and trotted in 58. Wonderful. Can't trot in 55. That's where they're going. And the other filly, she's got to qualify now. So I know you guys are, you want to see them race in stake races, but I'm going to tell you right now, I have zero interest in going on the track anymore at 15-1. I put Welland down in a bad spot the other night doing that, thinking, she's 15-1, but she's still as good or better than these fillies. You know, it is a vital piece of information also. If the program matches the horse, unless I know something that they don't know, and they go on the track 15-1, it's probably for a good reason, especially when they're off the rail. I have zero interest racing horses over their head for the rest of the summer. So we're looking for the right places to race them. Horse like GW Chrome, he'll be back in the maiden next week. Fox Valley Britsko will be back in. We'll try and find a spot for Italian Grit. I told Travis when he goes home to race in Ontario, Italian Grit would fit wonderfully in wonderfully back in Ontario in that 15 non-winners of 40, the class that Spend That Money was in. They read it at 2 tracks. I'm actually trying to talk Travis into buying a piece of the colt and taking him home and training him. Travis has done us a wonderful service being here, and I think that horse could be helpful for him home. You might say to yourself, what about Fox Valley Britsko? Why not him? Could. Just 2 different horses. Fox Valley Britsko will find himself throughout the year. Italian Grit has found himself and will be a decent horse if we race him in the right classes. And I guess I apologize if I'm being a little vague when it comes to those 2 horses, but they're 2 very different horses. GW Chrome, you know, if he was in Indiana bred or even an Ontario bred, he would be on gate right now also. Fox Valley Britsko and Italian Grit are not eligible to the fairs here and will find themselves a little bit of trouble throughout the summer, I think, here anyway, and definitely in Indiana. So that's where we are with those horses. What else? A ton of questions regarding equipment and bandages and shoeing. Where the horses are going in New Jersey, we want to make sure we have horses going to New Jersey first. We have a lot of horses eligible, but again, we're not sending horses anywhere that can't do. I'm not sending a horse hoping and praying it can do. We've had some rough luck in New York. We're trying to get some proper horses out to Mark that we can have some luck with. Sweet Ambitions, I think, will do him some good. That wasn't fair to him, and it was just a stupid thing for me. You know, when he talked to me, he said, "You want me to put her in?" I should have said no. That's what I should have said. Knowing that ship would be hard on her, it was just a bonehead move on my part, and I think she'll come back and race well for Mark Beckwith next week. So Admirable is going to qualify again on Friday. Apparently she made a break. He said, if I can't get her to go Friday, I give up. Fine, then you win. And I don't want to hear that. I think that he's a good horseman, and the fact that she qualified well for him means to me that he had her going in the right direction. Just it's tough sometimes with these horses. We go through it. Every trainer goes through it. And that's the other thing. You know, I spent the whole weekend just going over a number of conversations that I had with a number of clients and friends. And, you know, somebody had said to me, you know, a horse like a Galarian made a break. Why not just send her to Ron Burke or Irv Miller? There's no magic potions. Well, I shouldn't say that. There appears to be with some trainers. But I'm not sending a horse just to say, hey, we can't get it to go, can you? You know, we've seen horses leave this stable and go to other places, and the idea that we just move them and they go forward means that we're not doing a good job. And I think for the most part, looking at the horses that we train, that we race, we do the best we can. And the one thing people forget sometimes is this industry is full of everyday horses, and it's not easy to have a real good one, and it's almost impossible to have a world champion. And if we keep buying horses in the right way and racing horses with the proper expectations and in the proper places and being frugal when we can and being smart when we sell them, I think we're all going to make out in a much better way. It's when that expectations start rising and the expectations start leading us down places that we don't want to be. The end of that path is more times than not really depressing and upsetting. So it's up to me to make sure that we have the horses in the right places, the horses driven in the right manner. I don't want to blame drivers. It wasn't James's fault the other day. James McDonald sat behind a Galarian more times than I have. But at the same time, she made a break. You can blame Tim, you can blame James, you can blame the track. It doesn't matter. It's over. Let's focus on this Saturday, getting her to the winner's circle this Saturday. So I've been happy with what I've seen from her and One My Heart Hanover so far. It appears that they're no worse for wear coming out of Philadelphia. They're starting to sharpen up. We're going to train them a little bit tomorrow, and then they'll be heading over to Tim's. As I said, really excited about the Meadows tomorrow. Happy with Compass Rose DC tonight. A little unhappy with myself, but not displeased with GW Chrome. wish he was a better horse, but he would have been second tonight in 58 had he not made a break, I believe. So we have June 1st coming up. We have the fairs coming up. We have the babies getting ready to qualify. Ontario, I see we have 14 horses in to qualify Thursday. We'll have a couple here. So lots of content for everybody on Thursday because if I'm not mistaken, 16 horses on both sides of the border to qualify. Oh, that's not true. Some are Thursday, some are Friday in Ontario. By Saturday afternoon, we'll have qualified upwards of 16 to 18 or 19 horses. So a big week for us. Next few weeks will be big as we get to see the horses start prepping for their return to the track in Ontario. So some good news in that respect. I hope you guys had a good week. As I said, I was a little reluctant to make a video today. A lot to talk about. I apologize about the questions document. I will get to that and the pertinent questions that are inside that document. And for those of you who regularly send questions and don't get them answered, I truly apologize. Keep sending them. I will stay on top of that document from here on in. So, hope you have a good day tomorrow. Tune in. We got Spirit of Dio, Path of Totality, Italian Grit, I'm a Lovely Lady, Mama Knows Best, and I'm sure I forgot somebody else. Oh, West 52nd, Delaware. Anybody else? I'm sure I forgot something. Anyway, take care. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're having a good week. We'll talk to you all very soon. Take care.